The rain was very heavy that morning. My shoes were old, and they quickly became wet. I walked fast on the street, but people looked at me in a strange way. Near the bus stop, a group of women stood under their umbrellas. They were dry and comfortable. Their clothes looked fresh and beautiful. One of them laughed softly and said something. Then they all looked at me and smiled. I suddenly felt very small. My pants were old and faded. My shirt had a mark on it. My hair was messy because of the rain. At that moment, I just wanted to disappear. When the bus arrived, I got in quietly and sat at the back. No one came to sit beside me. I looked down at my hands and tried hard not to cry. I thought to myself, why do I always look like this? Why can't I be like them? The bus kept moving, but my heart felt heavy. At the office, nothing changed. I worked hard every day, but no one noticed me. My boss spoke kindly to other women, but with me, he only gave short instructions. Do this. Finish that. I never heard words like thank you or well done. My co-workers laughed and talked together. They wore neat clothes, soft perfume, and walked with confidence. I sat quietly at my desk, feeling invisible. One afternoon, we had a small meeting. Everyone stood in the main room. I stood at the side, holding my notebook. My boss asked for new ideas. Many people raised their hands. I also had an idea, but my heart felt weak. I thought, no one will listen to me. So I stayed silent. After the meeting, my boss praised another employee. Everyone clapped. I walked back to my desk with tears in my eyes. That evening, when I reached home, I stood in front of the mirror. I saw a tired woman. My hair looked dull. My clothes were shapeless. I whispered softly, "Ellie, what happened to you?" My chest felt tight. I remembered my younger days. I once dreamed of becoming strong and respected. But now, I felt like a shadow in my own life. The next morning, something small changed everything. I wore a pink shirt that my cousin had given me. I had never worn it before because I thought it was too bright for me. But that day, I tried it. At the office, a colleague named Rena looked at me and said, "Ellie, this color looks nice on you." Her words were simple, but they touched my heart deeply. That whole day, I kept smiling. That one moment stayed in my mind. I started thinking, maybe clothes can change something. Maybe they can help me feel alive again. That weekend, I opened my cupboard. Most of my clothes were old, but I chose the better ones. I washed them carefully. I ironed each piece. I cleaned my shoes. I tied my hair neatly. On Monday, I walked into the office with a little more confidence. I was still nervous. But something unexpected happened. A man from another department said, "Good morning, Ellie." He had never spoken to me before. My boss looked at me and paused for a second. Then he said, "Come and sit with the team." He had never asked me that before. My hands were shaking, but my heart felt lighter. From that day, I decided to change slowly. I did not have much money, but I saved a little every week. I bought one new dress, navy blue. I also bought simple black shoes. They were not expensive, but they made me feel strong. In the evenings, I started learning small things. How to stand properly. How to smile. How to greet people. At first, it felt strange. But slowly, it became natural. I practiced in front of the mirror. Good morning. Again and again. Until it felt real. Soon, people started noticing. One colleague asked, "Ellie, where did you get this dress?" Another said, "You look different these days." Even my boss said, "Nice work." I had been doing the same work for years. But now, I was being seen. Still, it was not easy. Some people talked behind my back. They said I was trying to show off. Their words hurt me. At night, I cried quietly. But I told myself, "No. I am not doing anything wrong. I am just learning to respect myself." One evening, my mother looked at me and said, "Ellie, you look brighter these days. What changed?" I smiled and replied, "I just started taking care of myself." She held my hand and said, "I am proud of you." Those words gave me more strength than anything else. I started keeping a small notebook. Every night, I wrote one good thing about my day. Someone smiled at me. I spoke in a meeting. I felt confident. These small moments gave me hope. Then came an important day. There was a presentation in the office. Usually, I stayed quiet at the back. But that day, I wore my navy dress and stood tall. When my boss asked for ideas, my heart was racing. But I raised my hand. My voice was shaking. But I spoke. For the first time, people listened. Some even clapped. My boss said, "Good idea, Ellie." That night, I cried again. But these were happy tears. For the first time, I felt alive. After that, my life slowly changed. People started respecting me. They asked for my opinion. They invited me to join projects. I was no longer invisible. But challenges still came. Some people became jealous. They tried to bring me down. But I stayed calm. I reminded myself, I'm doing this for me. Then one day, my boss gave me a big opportunity. He said, "Ellie, I want you to help lead an important project." I was scared. But I said yes. I worked hard. I guided my team. I stayed patient. I believed in myself. Even when people doubted me, I stayed strong. Finally, the day of the big presentation came. I stood in front of many people. My hands were cold. But my voice was steady. I explained everything clearly. When I finished, the room became quiet. Then, everyone clapped. My boss smiled and said, "Excellent work, Ellie." Later, he called me and said, "I want to promote you." I couldn't believe it. That day, my life truly changed. Now, when I look in the mirror, I don't see a weak woman. I see someone strong, someone confident, someone who learned to believe in herself. And I finally understood something important. I was never invisible. I just didn't see myself before. But when I started believing in myself, the world started seeing me too. Sparkling Heart.